it's Chris again, this time with a video on the SHH7R shifter, which is a 3D printed shifter that has both manual and sequential modes all in one. SHH are a company based in Spain. I think the shifter is all they make at the moment, but this is the second generation of their shifter. I know they've got a new one in the pipeline as well, a what they call the Hawk model, which will supersede the 7R, but it will be very similar, just with a slightly firmer sequential clunk to it. It'll be slightly stiffer a shift, but I'll explain a bit more about how you can adjust this one to bring it in line with that. But yeah, here's the shifter. So like I said, they're made on a 3D printer, which means that they are very cheap to make as far as cost, and therefore cheap to buy. I think this the whole thing, everything that you see here. So the shifter itself, so manual and sequential mode, 2 shift knobs, these shaft threads as well for fitting universal gear knobs on, with my logo printed as well, which I'll explain in a sec. Delivered to me in London from Madrid. I think it was about €106 all in. I looked on their website, which you'll find if you just stick SHH shifter into Google, it comes up. It comes up in Spanish, so you just need to translate it. Or you can find them on Facebook, and they're very responsive on Facebook as well, which is good. And I was chatting with them about the different options available, because they're all made to order. So you place your order and then they make it for you. So you can have pretty much whatever you want as far as color, and you can have a logo put on as well. I've had our CMR team, sim racing team logo put in mine here. All in all, it takes about a week. I placed the order through Facebook. I said, yeah, okay, that's fine. Was happy with the price, and I PayPal'd them the balance, and a week later it was here. So because they're made to order, they're kind of made to your specification sheet, so you can choose firstly the color you want. Obviously I went with black. I think you can get white, red, or blue. You can choose as well the color of the top. I went for the carbon effect plate. You can also choose as well how many gears you want. I went for 7 and reverse, just because I'm covered then, but they do a 6-speed plus reverse. I think they even do a 4-speed as well, like a NASCAR one. And they also do a changeable plate for when you're in sequential mode as well, just like an up and down, which I didn't buy, but I'll probably will go back and get one. You get 2 shift knobs with it, the sequential style and the manual one as well. To be honest, you probably will want to look at replacing these if you get one of these, just because they're printed as well. They're a bit lightweight, but they do the job. It's good that you get 2 as well. But yeah, do make sure that you get these chucked in as well. I think they put them in as standard now, but when I ordered mine a month ago, it wasn't. I had to argue with them a little bit to get them to chuck them in, but we got there, and here they are. If I just take the shift knob off, there you go. There we go. That shaft there is too thin for a universal knob, so that's what you're going to need those for. With regards to the shift knobs that you do get, you can see. Well, first you can see the lines of the printing as well, like on the shifter. I think that's actually, I quite actually like that effect. I think it looks pretty cool. But you'll see here as well that there are 2 bolt holes, one there and one there, and that's just so you can choose, because you use that to tighten the shift knob onto the actual shaft there. I like to have mine quite low down, so I've got mine mounted in the top, but you just screw it all the way out and put it in the lower one. It gives you a little bit more scope for having that higher up if you if you want to there. Round on the side here, I guess a bit closer in, get some light on there. So this is the switch for switching between sequential and H pattern manual modes. So it's just a flick of the switch, and then you actually turn the knob to tell it what you're doing. I'll tell you what, let's put this back together and I'll show you. Okay, so let's put that on there and we'll do it properly. I'll tighten it up. Oops. And on the other side as well. Okay, so let's move these out of the way. Okay, so it's in manual mode at the moment. It's difficult, I know, on a video to sort of get an idea for the kind of feedback that you're getting and the strength on the shift here, but it is actually quite a good level of resistance that you get there. I used to have a Fanatec shifter. It's certainly on a level with that, maybe even a bit stronger. It was a while ago when I had the Fanatec shifter, but I certainly don't use this and think, oh, fucking hell, it's nowhere near as good, because it's certainly on the same sort of level. I've never used the Thrustmaster, so I don't know how it compares to that, but I think overall it feels pretty good. Okay, now, so for sequential mode, so all we do, flick that to up to sequential, and then we tell this by twisting that round, and now it won't let me engage the gears. So if I try and hit first, it won't let me. It uses third and fourth as the sequential slots. And of course, what you would do, or what you could do, is then change this top plate. You'd remove the shift knob, obviously, but then this plate, you'd loosen those 4 screws. That would lift off, and you could put a sequential one on top of there just to finish it off. But I've got to say, it honestly feels pretty good. I'm definitely not disappointed with it. It's a good level of resistance. You could always have more, but there is a way you can get more, which I'll touch upon in a second. But out of the box, I think it's really good, especially considering what you pay and what you get having manual and sequential like that. It's so easy to flick between. So if I just flick back down, twist that back around, I can now engage manual. So you just twist the knob round 90 degrees with pressure on it and flick the switch to flick between the different modes. It's as easy as that. I'll stick it on the rig and you can see what it's like in action. One other thing is you can choose when you order this what mounting solution you want. I got it with the L bracket to mount to the rig over there, so that will mount onto the shifter arm on the rig there, and then on the front of here there's all these bolt holes, so I can then choose which of those I use, and it will determine the final position of the shifter there. But that's a quick overview. What I'll do next is we'll just take this cover off and I'll just show you inside, and I'll show you as well how you can get a bit more strength out of the shifter as well. So let's do that now. Okay, so I've taken the screws out that secure the top plate in position, so we can lift that off now, and now we can see inside the shifter. So how it works from a resistance or adjusting the resistance perspective, um, things that are of interest to us are these two screws here, so either side of the actual shifter. So here and here. What they do is if you tighten those, they apply pressure to, there's a washer underneath. I think you can see that, but if I try and point it out, yeah, so there's a washer underneath, and underneath that washer, I don't know if we can get the angle on it or not, but underneath the washer is a spring, and the more pressure that's applied to that spring, the more resistance we get in our shifts. So all we need to do is compress that spring down as much as possible, and that's what these two screws are doing with that washer. So you screw down on the screws, that pushes the washer further down and compresses the spring more. So I've tightened my screws down a fair bit, but if you can see there, there is still a little bit of travel still to go. I just need to be a bit more patient with it. The problem that I have with doing this is I can't really get enough pressure on it now to tighten it any further because this is in the way. Um, but yeah, I'm sure I can. I just need to be a little bit more patient with it. But um, by tightening those down, you get more resistance. By loosening them off, the opposite. So um, I was speaking with SHH the other day, just asking them about the new model they've got coming, the Hawk shifter, and the difference. Well, firstly, manual. They tell me that if I've got these screws tightened down, there's no real difference in the manual shift resistance between this and the new one. There's a little bit more in the sequential mode on the new shifter, and that I mainly race or mainly use this in sequential mode, so that's more relevant to me anyway. So I asked, well, okay, what can I do with this other than tighten the screws down to give it more resistance, to bring it more in line with the new one? And simple answer, put longer screws in. What they told me to do is that these are M2 10mm screws. If I replace these with M2 12mm and tighten those all the way down, we're going to be pretty much there or thereabouts on a par with the new one. So a bit of a top tip for you if you've got one of these or you're thinking of getting one. You've got the option of buying one maybe, and you want to make it even stronger than it is, then that's how you do it. Just put a couple of slightly longer screws in there. But like I said, out the box, it feels really good. I've got to say, I'm really impressed with it. I'm not sure what I was expecting when I bought it. I know that there's a couple of videos out there, and I base my purchasing decision based on those, um, because they seem to be pretty well received by their owners. People that did have them spoke highly of them. Um, so I bought one, and I've got to say that yeah, I am really happy with it. It's probably exceeded my expectations in all honesty because of all things considered, that you've got manual and sequential in there. The way that it feels, um, I like the fact that you can customize it a bit as well, with by putting a logo in there. I think that's a nice touch, gives them a nice USP as well. And yeah, all in all, it's a really great shifter. If there's any questions that you've got about it, then feel free to you ping me those, chuck a question in the comment section, and I'll answer those as best as I can. But other than that, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.